Okay, welcome everyone to Wigan Weekly, your go-to Wigan Athletic podcast. It's been a bit of time. We actually did record this episode, but sadly something went wrong in the recording, so we'll have to do it again. I'm a bit annoyed about that because we really went into a bit of effort, but it is what it is. But we're back again now, aren't we, Kurt?
Yeah, we certainly are, and I mean that's just how it goes. You know, you get the occasional setback, and you know it's what you do to get over it.
Yeah, it is currently Tuesday, the 8th of April. Exeter versus Wigan is actually currently live. I'm currently watching it. So if it even happens, I probably will just quickly mention it. But apart from that, a couple of games to go through. We went through the Barnsley full time, didn't we? That wasn't. Yeah, we went through that.
Went through that last time.
So with that, we start with Tuesday, the 1st of April, which of course was a week ago today, which was a 1-0 defeat to Bolton Wanderers. A difficult game, Kurt. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, this is it. You know, that game basically summed up our season. You know, you can easily play out a draw, but you know, you can easily concede as well. Like, it was a pretty sloppy goal. We should have done better.
Yeah, it was. I think going into the game wasn't exactly filled with confidence, but I mean, I do think I wouldn't say do better because we didn't play too badly. Because to be fair, you know, it was a very equal game in terms of going forward. Both teams were very poor going forward. It was a game that felt it was just predominantly played in the midfield. Bolton were good defensively. We were okay defensively. Players like Aimson and Jason Kerr did an alright job, but their defence was very good. Forrester, Farino, they did really well. But it came down to a 92nd minute winner, which is probably the worst way to end than to get beat by local rivals. You couldn't really ask for a worse ending, but it just really hurt, didn't it, Kurt? Wasn't it what we wanted at all?
Yeah, that's one way to knock your 10-year streak out the window with something as poor as that. But I mean, it is what it is, you know. Obviously, you know, like you say, you know, you said most of it was played in the midfield, but I mean, they did have quite a few sort of wide shots. So I mean, it kind of felt inevitable that they would, you know, eventually get one on target.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very scrappy goal scored by Chris Farino. It was a corner from Bolton. It was a bit of a calamity from Kieran Aimson. There was a bit of confusion about who was clearing it, and then it just fell to Farino when he just dinked it in. No chance for Tickle. It was a goal that wasn't, I'd say, deserved, but I mean, it just is what it is, really. I think for me, I'd say all credit goes to the fans. The fans are really good. It's the first time for a while the fans have been up for it as much as they were on Tuesday. Bolton fans are very good, but that was expected. You know, I mean, we did well when we went there, so we expected that they'd be loud. It obviously was a sellout. So, yeah, both fans deserve credit, particularly Bolton. But, yeah, overall, not a great experience. It was our first home derby, and it certainly didn't go the way we wanted to. But, like I say, we move on. And, well, we have moved on because we played since then, and that obviously was the next game. So, obviously, that was Saturday's game, which was Leyton Orient 0, Wigan 0. And yet again, another very unenthusiastic performance from Wigan. Kurt, would you agree on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously some would say, you know, at least it wasn't a repeat of the reverse fixture where we lost 2-0 to them. But, I mean, a draw, it's not really ideal because we need to try and get more and more points on the board as we come into the final sort of stages of the season.
Yeah, I can agree with that. A lot of comments circling on Twitter that it was a very boring and just, you know, drama-free game. Nothing happened in it. So, yeah, would you agree with that?
Well, I mean, obviously we're just going off what people are saying here, but I mean, obviously if there's no goals on either side, it must have been fairly boring. Because fancy going all the way down to the capital and just getting 1 point. I mean, better than none, but certainly need the 3.
Yeah, I do feel for the fans a little bit because, again, it was a game in which we had, I think we had one shot on target. In fact, I don't think we had a single shot on target. I don't know. It was either one shot on target or just none, but it was very low, whatever it was. Whereas Leyton Orient they went forward well by the start. Well, the stats suggest they went well. They went forward well, but I think defensively something is going well defensively because we're not conceding many goals. We've only conceded what 2 goals our last I want to say like 3, 4, 5 games. So there's something going right there, but going forward there's the problems and Ryan Lowe is struggling. I think with that. The formation's constantly changing. Tactically we look a bit I don't know, we just look like we don't really know what to do. Players look just a bit tired. I think the players are getting knackered quite easily. I'm watching the Exeter game now. These players are out of breath we're 13 minutes in here. These players look knackered already, to be honest. So it's all about, I think, managing fitness levels, which is not something that we can really do because, let's face it, got quite an extensive injury list. We're relying on youth a bit too much. We are in a bit of a pickle, aren't we, at the moment?
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, obviously, like when people say, what do you think about Lowe? I think, he's still obviously dealing with Maloney's players, so I'm not really going to judge him until, we've had the summer transfer window, because it'll be interesting to see how many of the current squad leave and how many people he brings in and in what roles.
Oh, wow. Sorry to interrupt, mate. Exeter just got very close there. What on earth that was. But, I do agree with that Maloney's players are still here. It's been intriguing seeing because he's included a lot more different. He's included players that Maloney didn't really include much. But Malise Asamoah's been, I think, our most used player in the last couple of weeks. Ryan Lowe's certainly taken to him quite well, which is it's nice to see because Malise is a top-rated player. He's talented. He proved that on loan at I think it was Waterford last season. So clearly something went right there. But yeah, I think Malise Asamoah needs utilising because he's a good talent, good young player. But as I say, it's nice to see Ryan Lowe using different players that didn't get much of a chance in Maloney. So that's a good thing, isn't it, Kurt?
Yeah, it certainly is. It's good to give these players a bit of actual experience and the chance to showcase what they can do and to obviously build upon that. So yeah, I'm not against it, but I mean, it would just be nice to get some goals in over these next few games.
Yeah, so I think the Leyton Orient game, as I say, not too much more to go on really. I'm watching the Exeter game now. You're not, Kurt. You're not watching, are you?
No, I don't have that luxury of Sky TV.
I mean, you aren't missing much, mate. But I'm not going to get into Sky much because I wouldn't waste time. I wouldn't waste time giving them a bit of limelight because I'm quite a bad corporation. But yeah, in terms of the first, this is the first 50 minutes in here, not doing too bad to be honest. We've actually been in control of possession. Dale Taylor's making a good forward run now, and Owen Dale's been fairly involved. And there's just been a foul from Exeter, but not too much to comment on really, but something's going okay. I say that an Exeter in now. But I do think that, before, actually, in fact, what was your prediction, Kurt? Was it 0-0 you said, or was it 1-1?
I said 0-0 for this fixture off the top of my head. I thought it's just going to probably be another repeat of the reverse fixture that we had at home, which was 0-0. I think, I'd like to think our players are capable of scoring a goal, but if they're not even getting forward, then it's a pretty big concern because I heard the other day that we had like one shot in the entirety of the Orient game, which is concerning.
Yeah, it is, and on top of that, we are actually. I think we are either the lowest or the second lowest scoring team in League One. It's one of them.
I think it's officially that we're the lowest, well, it was when I saw it the other day.
Yeah, and you expect that from a team that are rock bottom, and we're not. We're not far off that, but yeah, a lot more expected. But then again, defensively, we have been pretty good because we've actually got a better defensive record than a lot of the top flight teams, like top 6, top 10 teams. So there's our defense, something's going right. That Asamoah, unlucky, great save by keeper.
Right, good yeah. So it is that we are the team with the lowest amount of goals in the league this season at 34. Shrewsbury are 23rd with one more goal. We're on 34, they're on 35. Just thought I'd clear it up because I've just looked it up.
Yeah, so not ideal to be, as I say, we're the lowest scoring team, but we've got a decent defence. So it's sort of, and you take one positive, but then you have, there's one negative, but it's built by another positive, and that's not a great way to be, but I suppose it's something. Fair to say in the summer, attacking options need to be really strengthened or just sorted. I think the summer's a good chance for Ryan Lowe to sit down and just work out a good, fluent attacking strategy. Because, I mean, at Preston, he certainly was able to bag a lot of goals with his Preston team. So I'm sure he can do the same with Wigan if he's able to put the work in and the effort into it.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. And it's also worth noting that, what was it he said a couple of years ago?
And I'll say it on record, I don't sign any knobheads, it's as simple as that. And if I feel someone's going to cause the group a problem, or cause me and the coaching staff a problem, or even cause the club a problem.
But yeah, I must say, that Ryan Lowe clip, which you just played, is pretty funny. Bit controversial because, I don't know, I mean, I don't think there really is any NOB heads in football. I mean, I think that you could argue that NOB heads are influenced by the manager and the teammates they might have around them. So, bit controversial that, but I mean, I think what he's trying to say, he doesn't want anyone who's going to
cause problems.
Or bring a bad reputation to the club. But I don't think there is many players in the world or in the EFL who are capable of doing that. I mean, there's no one in this current team, in my opinion.
Yeah, so, we're talking to Preston. Osma Hicks just scored against Cardiff, 1-0.
I don't even surprised. One of the most overrated players, in my opinion, in the championship. I mean, this game, mate, we're actually playing all right here, to be honest. We're getting the ball going forward, which is good. Defensively, though, a bit shabby, to be honest. They're getting some easy chances.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is actually, so obviously, we've got the summer window coming up, and a lot of players whose contracts are expiring or running out. What I did want you, because obviously, because in the original episode which we recorded but couldn't release, you went through what I think of, whether they should stay or go or not. So do you want to do it again, Kurt?
Yeah, we can do that again. I'll have to get them up now. Yeah. Right, so I've got them up. Current contract situation. So first up, Tom Watson, 79 votes to keep him in and 27 votes to let him go, which works out at 75% of people think he should stay and 25% of people think he should go. So where do you stand on that one?
Right, so people are more in favour of him going, yeah?
No, they're more in favour of renewing his contract. 75% of people.
I don't really have... I've got a mass opinion on Watson. We're not seeing enough of him, really. He played against, the Forest under-21s, didn't he? Which he did impress, and he also played... I think he played in all the Bristol Sumo Trophy games, at least, I think. Look, I mean, it's fairly evident that I think Sam Tickle, we can come to the conclusion Sam Tickle is probably going to be leaving this summer. And if he doesn't, I'd be quite shocked because I think he's getting a bit too rough this league and a bit too rough for our team and our level. So if he goes, it becomes anyway. Well, if he goes and Tom Watson goes, it becomes a case of having to find not one goalkeeper but two goalkeepers, the first choice and the second choice. So overall, I don't rate him massively, Tom Watson, but I'd say keep him. I think it would save us a bit of hassle and a bit of a job. So yeah, I'd definitely renew Tom Watson's contract.
Fair enough. Next up, we've got Luke Robinson with 68 votes to renew, which is 64%, and let go at 39 votes, which works out at 36%.
I mean, I think back in January there was a bit of a discussion online of a conversation between Maloney and Robinson. I think it was that he's open to maybe getting it done, but I think it was along the lines of Robinson wants to leave, wants more game time, but I don't know. I think since Christmas onwards, Lou Robinson's featured a lot in this team. He's featured a lot more partly because I think injuries like Luke Chambers being out is a big factor behind that. We obviously bought Mellish, but John Mellish doesn't seem to play much. So yeah, for Robinson, game time's been quite decent this season. I think in his shoes, he probably should stay, but I think if he left, I wouldn't really be too bothered, really, because I think that he deserves more of a first choice role because I think at Wigan he is second best, really. So, as I say, I think I'm sat on the fence there. I'm not necessarily bothered if he goes, if he stays. So, yeah, I think overall, yeah, okay, yeah, stay.
Fair enough. Right. Next up, we've got Steven Sessegnon with 86 votes to renew compared to 23 to say let go. So that's a 79% of the votes want him to stay, and 21% of the votes say we should let him go.
Tough that assessment, because I mean, he's a good player. I think he's definitely. I mean, when he's in the mood, he's definitely one of League One's best. But I think with him, like this season, he's generally been probably injured more than he has been fit, and it's not a great sign, really. He's there. I mean, he's a brilliant player, but we can't really use him because, like I say, he's rarely match fit, so that it's difficult to really contend with. I think I'd personally probably let him go. Just none. I think a talented player, and he might go elsewhere and shine, and he'll be a bargain with a free. But I think we should probably cut losses and get rid of him because, like I say, game time he's struggling to be able to stay match fit, and it does feel a bit of a waste. We've got a player who's there taking up room, which we need. So yeah, I probably would get rid of Session. To be honest, I'd let him go.
Right, fair enough. Next up, we've got Scott Smith with 71 votes to renew and 39 to let go, which roughly works out at 65% of people say we should renew and 35% think we shouldn't.
Yeah, I think our fan base are quite split between Scott Smith. He's a local lad, and I think every team and will tell you that they like getting behind local lads because they're community based. They've come they're local, and I think there's a sense of like I say, there's a sense of localness. So I think you always get behind them, especially Premier League teams. They do it a lot, and especially in League One because I think homegrown talent is a bit more. It's a bit more rare, I think. So with Scott Smith, I think the level of a player he is, I don't think he's amazing. I think he's not amazing for League One level, and I think he probably struggled to walk into most League Two teams, to be honest. But again, local lads, he just played for the badge. I wouldn't be bothered if he left on a free. Oh, wow, accident is good. I wouldn't be bothered if he walked away as a free, but I would be too bad if he stayed. If he stayed, I wouldn't mind. But deep down, I'd probably say maybe it's time for Scott Smith to go.
Okay, fair enough. Next up, we've got Harry McHugh, which 71 votes for renew and 41 for let go, which is 63.
Really?
Yeah, so 63% think we should renew and 37% think we should let go.
That's surprising. I mean, I've heard a lot of slander towards Harry McHugh this season in terms of, I think, the way that he's not a great player. He's been given a few chances. He's not taking them, in my opinion. He is getting, he's first choice star. I mean, I say that. He has just gone off. He wasn't off, but he was just down, actually. Look, McHugh is McHugh. I think he's not a great player. And I think he struggled to be on the bench in League Two, to be honest. I think he struggled to get into the National League to some level, to some extent. I'd probably be a bit harsh, but I'd say let him go. I don't think we really need him. I mean, he's there. I mean, obviously, you could argue he's there for the depth and maybe for the the rotational sense, but he's not a great player. He's not that talented. I would definitely say we should release him, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, next up we've got this one's got a pretty decisive answer. It's Joe Adams, where 32 votes say we should renew and 75 think we should let go. So that works out at 70% of people want him to go.
Joe Adams, but I mean, obviously we've met him a few times, Joe, and I mean, I don't know if you did, but I did a bit. I mean, I had a bit of a conversation with him about obviously the whole loan move and stuff. I mean, obviously last season, the last 6 months of 2024, he went on loan to
Bradford.
No. The last 6 months of last season, he went to Morecambe.
Yeah, Morecambe.
Where he was okay at Morecambe. The fans, I think the fans were very happy with what he did, to be honest, their fan base. There was good comments made about him, and then obviously he went to Bradford for the first. Well, he was meant to go there for a season on loan. Didn't quite go that way. He was injured in the first 2 games at ACL, which, speaking to him, he was clearly disappointed, and it really not for the rest of the season. He's had surgery. It's been a difficult season for him. Which, I mean, obviously, I mean, we're coming to the end of it now, so it's been quite, I suppose it's gone quite quick for him. I like Joe, I do. He's a really nice lad, as I just said. Nice lad to talk to as a person. As a player, I think that, I mean, I've not really seen much of him as a player. I know that he impressed in this season's pre-season against Accrington Stanley. I think he got a goal and an assist, and he played okay against Chorley and AFC File. But overall, probably, I think he deserves a better chance in the team, because I think if he was fit, he probably would be playing. But I do think next season, I think we will. I mean, all the signs are there, but we might have a decent window. So I'm going to say, for his own sake, to develop more, I'd say let him go.
Okay, fair enough. And to conclude, we've got Callum McManaman, which I can see why loads of people want him to stay. I mean, I know you complain about his age, but I mean, I think he's a club legend. But obviously, you were a bit thingy about that the other day. But like I said, once in a lifetime thing, he was the man of the match in the FA Cup final. Monumental day for the club in the history. You can't really deny that.
Yeah, I think to gain a sort of legend status at a club, you've got to. I think there is certain criteria and boxes you got to tick. I mean, looking at Prem teams, and I think, looking at the teams at the highest levels of football, it's very difficult to become a legend because there's so much competition. I think, with League One, Wigan, we've been on a real roller coaster. We've been for the Prem, the Championship, League One. He's been there for all of it, really. He's been there in Premier League stints. He's been there in Championship stints, and obviously League One stints in recent times.
Yeah, he's definitely been there a good amount over the years.
Yeah, and obviously for our club, we're not a team because, as I say, teams at the highest level, their legends win them trophies, and that's a difficult thing to do. Whereas with Wigan, us winning the FA Cup was not expected. And, he was man matching the game. So, yeah, I think now thinking about it, I do agree with you now. That, I think he does deserve some sort of legend status or maybe even a Hall of Fame status at Wigan. So, yeah. I think that Cal Mack, like I say, he just to some extent, he just deserves legend status. I do think that in the last 6 months and toward the end of last season, I just think he's completely said. I mean, last season, a lot more moments and highlights. He scored a few goals, a few bangers last season. This season, he's only scored the goal against Peterborough. That's the most memorable thing he's done. I mean, he's always on the bench. He's always part of the squad. I mean, not the start 11, but always part of the bench at least. But as I say, I've been saying it to Fred. His legs, for me, he just looks slower. He looks like he's getting tired easily. So I think it's difficult for him. But I think in years to come, I'd say he will be definitely regarded as a legend. But I would let go, and I think he. Well, I mean, I was under the illusion that maybe, if Maloney had stayed longer, he might have come back as maybe a coach role because Maloney and him had a good relationship. But Ryan Lowe doesn't really know him that well, so I doubt we'll see him come back at Wigan at any point. But it's not like I wouldn't rule it out, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Very, very much within the history of this club, and he's obviously been there with the likes of Maloney and all that, who have then since had roles after being a player at the club. But I didn't get a chance to go over the numbers, so it was 84 votes in favour of renewing him and 28 in letting go, which works out at 75% of people wanting him to stay at the club, which is certainly a high number. Yeah.
Okay. Our fans will agree, but it just, in my opinion, he's too old. He's well, not past it, but he's just. I just don't really think it'd be worth it because at the end of the day, this season he has not really done much to the team. He's got one goal really. He's not. He's coming on with the last 4 minutes. What can any player really do in 4 minutes? He's not going to work wonders.
Being given enough time, really.
Yeah, he's 33. I just don't think it's going to work out much longer. So I'd let him go, Calmac, and I think he'd probably retire or maybe go down a few levels of the league. Maybe Asamar's in here. Go on, Asamar's in. Go on, use him. Oh, Dale Taylor. Oh. That's the end of that. Okay, well, with that, Kurt, I'm going to quick look at our all the loan players, and I'll go through them dead quick. I want your opinions on if they should come back or not as a permanent player, or maybe another loan spell.
Right. Okay.
Because we've heard from me, I'll hear from you now for a bit. Alright. Okay, so players on loan. Right, well, we'll start with Luke Chambers up first. Luke Chambers, is he a player you'd like to see come back in the future on a permanent or maybe even another loan?
Well, I mean, let's face it. He's had 2 loans here. I don't think he'd come back on loan. I think it's one of them. Either Liverpool will want him, or they might give him to someone else, or do you know what? They might just sell him up to us if we meet their thing. But I don't think we would. I mean, it'd be nice to see him back, but I just think with the reality of things, I just don't think it'll happen.
Well, we'll have said that. His Liverpool contract actually expired on May 31st this year, so technically,
if he joined us on a free, then I wouldn't complain.
That's what I mean. And if we can pounce as soon as on June 1st, we could very easily land Chambers on a free. But knowing this club's transfer strategy, I don't think that's going to happen. That'll be very wishful thinking, but it might happen. As I say, free transfer. Oh my word, Exeter nearly scored. I think definitely will be an absolute bargain if that can happen. But
it would be. I mean, now you've mentioned that just gives it a whole sort of different meaning, really. I think, if we could do that, it'd be great. But obviously, I mean, whoever was in charge of the club's recruitment last summer and that AI-driven system, it wasn't great. I mean, I think you should look at, who's worked well in the past and who the fans sort of enjoy seeing playing. Because, I mean, a lot of the fans do rate Chambers. It's just a shame that this season he's had bad injuries, so he's just not been able to play, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first 6 months of his loan from January 2024 to April 2024, he was arguably our best player, to be honest. He made a real impact. I think he gave some energy to that left-hand side because we were relying on Jordan Jones and he was struggling for fitness and also his age. He was, 32, 31. But yeah, I think Chambers should definitely come back at some point. Okay, well, next up, a difficult one, Oliver Norburn. We've not seen that much of him, really. So what do you think of that?
Well, I mean, it's sort of the same concern that, when you have about Cal Mack, when you say about his age and that. I mean, Norburn, I mean, he's all right, but I mean, I can't really remember anything, to write home about any of his performances. So I think he's about slap bang average, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I do think he's given us a bit of experience, a bit of intelligence in the midfield. Something.
Yeah, I can get behind that because obviously, like you say, the older player's got a bit more experience. I mean, obviously he's had time at Blackpool and a handful of other clubs. So yeah, I can agree with the experience part.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah. Wouldn't mind seeing him come back. I mean, I heard a rumour that it was already done, but I don't really believe that because I don't think it would have been done already. But yeah. Okay, up next, a player whose season was sadly cut short. It was Silko Thomas on loan from Leicester. What did you think of his initial 7 months, 8 months at Wigan? What do you think, Kurt?
Yeah, he didn't seem too bad. I mean, he was quite often, obviously, on the team sheet, and he was definitely playing. I mean, you can't really complain there because he definitely, was starting to get some experience out of it. I think he'll take that into wherever he goes next when he's recovered and probably do all right.
Yeah, I hope so. He's a good player with still lots to learn. I mean, sadly, he didn't get a single goal for Wigan, but still.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, it's like a few of our loans haven't really bagged any goals for us this season. I mean, I don't really think that's a criteria to sort of base how well they've done, really. It's because, if we've not scored many goals, it'd be unfair to judge them, though they've not scored a goal.
No,
but then that's like most of the squad.
Yeah, but I think in the sense of I mean, when he goes back to Leicester, let's face it. I mean, do you really think Leicester have been watching him? I mean,
probably not.
Because to Leicester, all they care about is goals, and if he got 4 goals and maybe 7 assists, they'd think, okay, well, the players for him. But if he's registered no goals or assists, fair enough. He might have played well, but they're not going to watch for him just playing well. They want him to be getting goals and assists. So,
well, no, of course
will...
they're going to want to see numbers, but then again, obviously, you look at the numbers for our, squad this season. 34 goals in about 40 games, like less than a goal a game. You can't really look at our club and think, oh yeah, we've really outdone it this season.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that. But I just mean in the sense that Leicester won't really be able to judge an opinion on him because they've not seen enough of him.
I get that, but like I'm saying, if we've not had an overall great season with all of the other players, it can be harder to understand. Like, well, okay, so we've given this player out on loan. Why has he not got any goals or any assists?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I agree with that. You made a really good point there. But yeah, I think a player I don't think I want to see him back personally. I don't really think it was ever meant to be long term. So would you agree that he can just stay at Leicester now, Kurt? Or do you want to see him back?
I think, you know what, maybe let him stay there or, go out on loan to another team. I think, League One, great place to get some experience, but maybe he might want to, try a different league, maybe have a go in League Two, see how well he does there, and then if he, outdoes it, go back up to League One and maybe even further potentially in the future. Very young, got a future ahead of him.
Yeah, he has, certainly has. Okay, last two players, Dale Taylor. I think I know what you're going to say already, don't I?
Well, all I'm going to say is about a dozen words. Get on the phone to Nottingham Forest at the end of the season.
I mean, I really wish it was as straightforward as that, but I don't think we're going to get Dale Taylor. I think Forest will...
I absolutely don't think we'll get him either, but that would be my initial reaction if we're living in an ideal world, but we don't whatsoever, and I think, we probably will be out of our budget, but this season he's definitely made an impact. Like, when you saw that stat, a couple of months ago that he was involved in, like, half the goals and the contributions or whatever, it definitely says something about him. Them numbers are there. On paper, it looks great. So, I couldn't blame myself or anyone else for wanting to see him back at the club. He's done a good job.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, I think Forest will I mean, I'm sure they'll look at the numbers and the highlights maybe. I mean, not his overall, off the ball, but definitely the goals he has scored. And I think that the way I see it, they'll probably, if we inquire, they'll probably charge them set amount, but I think they might. I think it'll be sort of similar to how Louis Barry's been handled. He's been loaned out to League One, is impressed, and then they send him to a championship. I think Dale Taylor might be sent to a championship team next season, maybe.
Yeah, that was my initial thoughts. I thought, he might go up to the championship, and then like I say, he's done all right for us, and there's definitely signs of promise there. Another player with a potentially bright future.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, finally, I mean, this man might be the most pointless signing in Wigan history, and his name is Will Goodwin. I mean, one word to sum up his so far time at Wigan, Kurt.
Well, confusing really, because it's like I've not seen him play for us in a good amount of time. Like, obviously, last time we saw him was in the family zone, like good amount of time ago. I've just not seen him since. What's happened? Is he injured or what?
Yeah, I think he's injured, actually. I'm pretty sure he is. I mean, I've read an article on Sportsmole which did say, he is fighting an injury. But at the end of the day, I mean, if he came back, if he's fit in a few weeks, I don't want to see him, to be honest. I mean, I've already seen a little bit of Will Goodwin, and I was not impressed. Slow, literally no effort into going forward on the attack. Nah, I've seen enough of him, and I quite frankly hope that Oxford recall him, to be honest.
Yeah, but then again, we're near enough at the end of the season. What difference does it really make? I think Oxford probably went into it thinking, we're in the Championship. We've only just come up and we're currently sat 19th. We want these players to go out, maybe to obviously like sending him and Owen Dale out to League One, so probably to try and get some experience so that they can build on the finish next year.
Yeah, I think that overall, loan signings have been a bit average. I mean, Luke Chambers at this point feels like a permanent player because of obviously how long he's been here now.
Yeah.
But sadly, he's not. He probably will go back, and I personally think that Liverpool will probably keep him. But then again, though, I've got to think Liverpool at this current time recording are en route to win the Premier League. It's almost guaranteed. So realistically, Luke Chambers does not have a good chance of being in their team. And I feel like for Liverpool to offer him a new contract, he's got to really think of his options. Fair enough. If I sign a new 5-year deal at Liverpool, I might go on loan again. But am I guaranteed a place in his first team? Am I balls? You know what I mean? I'm not gonna have a long-term future. I think realistically, the best thing for him would be to run out his contract and just see what happens, what clubs approach him. Because I think Wigan will be fools. If he was released by Liverpool, we'd be fools not to approach him. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, definitely want to try and target in the summer, and I think, he probably will attract interest. But like you're saying, at Liverpool, it would probably take quite a lot to, get him as a first choice in their team. I completely agree with that because obviously, they're flying this season, But, yeah, I think with Luke Chambers, definitely want to try and chase up if he does get released because, I mean, if you said his contract ends at the end of May, it's coming into the final stages now. Like, if Liverpool are going to offer him something new, it should happen really soon. Like,
yeah, well, but obviously it is tough because technically he is a Wigan player, so technically Liverpool can't really approach him until he's officially their player again. So, yeah, technically that's going to be out of Liverpool. So technically, there's not really much of a reason why Liverpool aren't going to get him to stay because it's going to be difficult to arrange. Really,
well, this is it. Because I mean, if you're going to say it like that, obviously the last game of the season is at the beginning of May, so they'd have like just under a month to try and keep him on. Did you say it expired at the end of May?
May 31st. Yeah.
Yeah, so they've got like about just shy of 4 weeks to get it done, really, which isn't a lot of time.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, overall, not been amazing for lone players. No players made a huge impact, apart from Dale, who obviously has been one of our more consistent strikers over the years. I mean, a question I asked Freddie the other day actually was, do you prefer Humphreys from last season or do you prefer Taylor from this season? Because I think it's quite a tough question, that, personally.
Oh, that is a tough question. I mean, if you're going to go on number of goals scored, it's going to be really close. I have a feeling that obviously, if we're going to count, assists and whatever, I think Dale might be up there. And I think Stephen Humphreys, yeah, he's decent, got some good goals for us last season. But, I mean, I saw a couple of weeks ago that Barnsley fans were complaining about him being lazy, which... Here's a question for you. Do you think he was a bit lazy when he was playing for us?
Well, Humphreys or Taylor?
Humphreys.
I don't know. I think Humphreys, for me, I feel like I feel like he only really turned up when it mattered. He didn't really. I feel like he was very mixed to his moods. He'd score maybe. He'd score 2 goals in 2 games maybe, and then he'll have a massive dry patch of 4 or 5 games, and then he'd do it again. And it was quite a constant throughout the season. So yeah, I don't think Humphreys was not the greatest attitude, but he clearly likes the club. He's made it clear, very vocal on social media about his thoughts on how the club was managed and how Maloney sacking was unnecessary and stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, obviously, in his time with us, 9 goals last season. So yeah, I mean, he's pretty much neck and neck with Dale Taylor in terms of goals scored. So I mean, I think it'd be very hard to sort of compare them because of obviously the similarities on paper. I mean, he did have 7 yellow cards last season, so definitely one for getting disciplined.
Yeah, definitely. But look, I mean, Humphreys at Barnsley has not been amazing. He scored a couple of goals. The fans like him.
He currently stands on 34 matches, 6 goals, 2 assists, and 3 yellow cards at Barnsley for this.
6 goals? I didn't realise he'd scored 2. I thought he scored about 2. That's better than actually and I thought he'd get, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, he's been hitting the griddy a few times.
Yeah, I remember seeing that one TikTok video. It was like, I think I can't remember who it was, but yeah, he scored a screamer at Oakwell and they just hit the griddy. Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, it was funny. But I think with that, we've genuinely come to the end of this podcast. We spoke about a lot today, haven't we?
Yeah, we certainly have. Not a lot to really write home about on the field in the last week, but yeah, I mean, definitely plenty to talk about in terms of contracts, player figures, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. So, with that, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching this episode of Wigan Weekly. Hope we have given you a good insight on the current situation of the club. Fans aren't too happy with Ryan at the moment, but hopefully, as Steve Ream said, things can only get better.
Yeah, but I feel like that'll probably phase out a bit next season when he starts bringing his own players in and bringing his tactical visions in. Okay, here's one for you. 186 Wigan fans are away at Exeter tonight. What's your thoughts on that figure?
Really, it looks like it looks nowhere near much on the cupboard. Very good, very very happy with themselves. Wigan Exeter fans. I mean, I think if we could afford it, we probably would be going. To be honest, but I haven't really got the money to be doing so at the moment. But if we could, I'd definitely be going.
Fair enough. I mean, I think that's a decent turnout, to be fair. I mean, with the amount of people that are slating the football at the minute to obviously go and make that trip. I mean, hats off to them.
I mean, teams like Wycombe and Barnsley have bought about 200 fans in what's less distance. So, yeah, not bad at all for the Wigan fans.
No, absolutely not. I think, hats off to them and good on
them. Yeah, definitely. So with that, thanks for watching, guys. And we'll see you in next week's podcast. Hopefully, we can record some sort of win. Obviously, it is half time now, 0-0 in Leyton Orient games. Hopefully, we can turn around, get a goal. Maybe I'm not gonna go too far with that though because it's a big ask. I know that, but fingers crossed we can do it. So with that, thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Stay safe and have a good week. The sun's out for it.